E158. Life is challenging and difficult. No one gets out alive. Time to suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for a monster-sized boot, aimed to help you get traction on personal change and get living. I am John Curran, your host. Join me as I share my journey, exploring the forces that motivate us to change and help us get through whatever life throws at us. A swift kick in the ass. Life on your terms. Welcome to A Swift Kick in the Ass. This is your host, John Curran. Today's topic. It's an interesting one, I think. The ship remains the same. Or does the ship remain the same? So, I am in the process of restoring a 1966 Bertram Bahia Mar. It's a 20-foot boat. It's been in my family for a long time. It was my dad's. I inherited it. And when my dad, before my dad got sick, he was in the process of restoring the boat. It's a 60-year-old boat, or almost 60-year-olds. So, it was basically a shell of a boat, and he was gel coating it. So, putting a new surface on it. And when he got sick, he asked me, if there was anything of his that I wanted, and I told him, I said, I want the boat. It means a lot to me. And he said, well, of course you can have the boat, but I think it's going to be too big of a task for you. I don't think you could do it. So I've been working on this boat and, of course, proving him wrong. Because when people tell me I can't do something, it makes me want to do it even that much more. So I've been, working on the boat, and I think Dad would be very proud. Actually, I'll start putting some pictures, I think, maybe out on the website if people are interested, if they care. And anyhow, it's been teaching me a lot of life lessons, quite honestly. And, I'm always thinking about the podcast and what I can bring forward to you as I apply these principles to my own life. And it really gets me thinking about how life in and of itself, by its very nature, life is impermanent. It's temporary. Everything has if you have a life, there's a beginning and an end. And our everything is just constantly in flux in this world and in our life. And I think we need to understand that this life is temporary. Now, how this connects to the boat is almost 60 years old. And when I start putting pictures out there, if you look up this boat on the internet, it's called a Bertram Bahia Mar. It's a 20-foot boat. There's a great story behind the creation of Bertram yachts, and they're still operating, and they make these huge yachts. They found that was much more profitable than making the smaller ones. But this was, a long time ago, and almost 60 years ago. And this boat was built to last, and back 60 years ago, things were built to last much more often than they are today. We live really in this temporary society. And, it's worked very well and been very profitable for businesses to recognize this. But how about applying that to your personal life? Recognizing that what's here now It has a lifetime, and it's going to be gone. And we only really have this moment. I tell myself repeatedly, and others, of course, who listen, that the only time we can take action is right here and right now. It's the only thing that really matters. The past is gone, and we can't do anything to change it. The future isn't quite here, but what we have to deal with is right here and right now. And my right here and right now is putting this boat together. It's a huge challenge, and it has really pushed me personally, and I think helped me develop a lot of confidence in my abilities, and actually just giving me experience that I didn't have before. I recognize I can take on any task and I can fix anything. I just need to figure it out. And I'm going to make mistakes along the way, but that's okay. So I am really, of course, just rambling here, but I'm going to get back on track. So everything here is temporary. My friend Tom, my former co-host, may he rest in peace. He's been gone for several years now, and that also triggers my thoughts on this, that, our lives are very short, and they're here, and we're here, and then we're gone. And, Tom left behind a legacy, and I hope to, help him continue that, because I think we were onto something when we were together, and the podcast was extremely strong, and people were listening, and I think this stuff is important. So that's what keeps me going. So I hope you find it important too. I'm going to stop rambling. Probably not. Anyhow, everything is temporary. But this is also a very powerful tool. Just recognizing this, that it's going to help us navigate challenges in life and help us make choices that lead to really a greater purpose-driven life. And I do have an ebook available on the website, swiftkickingtheass.com. If you go to the shop, if you put in ASKITA 20, you'll get a 20% off coupon. If you put in ASKITA 10, you'll get a 10%. Pretty good. You could choose your discount, I guess. But I'm only mentioning this on the podcast, the coupon codes, and seeing who is listening to the show and who gets value out of what I'm trying to do, because I really want to offer you all some value to help you change your life and be that kick in your ass, to get you moving and get you motivated to create positive change in your life. I'm kicking my ass all the time, and I'm focused on the here and now, and I'm working on my boat, and I'm trying to think of a name for it. And my dad called it the Sea Hag. But I don't want to call it the Sea Hag. This is my boat. And, I was thinking about calling it Perseverance and, all these different things. But I found something, and I found the name. It relates to Greek mythology. And the name is Theseus. Now, Theseus was a legendary hero in Greek mythology. I'm not an expert in mythology, but he was the slayer of the Minotaur. And he was also considered the founding city. He founded the city of Athens. And so the ancient Greeks, of course, really appreciated him founding the city and killing the Minotaur. So they preserved his ship as a monument. But over time, these parts of the ship would start to rot. Kind of like what I'm doing on my boat. I had have to repair it. I needed to figure out how to work fiberglass, and YouTube is a tremendous resource. I feel like I can do anything as long as I have access to the internet and YouTube primarily, so I could figure out what other people have done and see what other people have done, and then apply it in my own way. But the Greeks preserved Theseus's ship, and over time, they replaced so much of the ship. It led philosophers to question whether or not it was really the same ship. And now my boat is, there's no doubt it's the same ship. I'm trying to keep it as original as possible. And what is also cool is that, when my dad died, or actually before my dad died, he started pushing his things off on me. My dad was very much a pack rat. He came out of the Great Depression, and he just held on to things. And I appreciate that, because I turned a lot of those things into cash. I wasn't going to use it, but I used the cash. And that has taught me a lot of value. It's given me a lot of value because it's given me confidence in myself to say, hey, you know what? I can create extra cash. It's a good side hustle to create, have a couple extra $100 in your pocket every month, just of your own doing and of your own fruition, because you took action and you put something up for sale that you don't really use or have no use for it, and use that money on other things like putting it into your boat and buying something really cool for it, something that you'll use, and something that you'll use in the here and now. So the philosophers, we're going to start thinking about it, and I want you to think about it. Think about your own life and how it applies to how you identify with yourself and how you deal with change in your life. This isn't really about ships, and I don't want this podcast to be about me. I want this podcast to promote positive change in your life, as well as in my own life. So it gets me thinking. So I definitely identify with my boat. And the reason why is because I'm actually putting a lot of myself into it now. It's been in my family for a long time. I remember playing on it as a kid with Tommy and pretending, I was the captain, and we're like pirates. We're out on the high seas, having all sorts of adventures on that ship, on that boat. And it seems huge, when you're a kid, out in the driveway down in Florida. But those times are here and gone, and I like to remember them, but I also want to have a purpose in today's world and have meaning in today's world. I want to create more new memories. I don't want to live in the past. I don't live in the past. I love Tommy. He was a tremendous friend. It's hard to put into words how when you have a lifetime friendship with somebody. He was like a brother from another mother. But he's gone. And his life, his story ended, but mine continues, and the podcast lives on. We've been going over 10 years now, and I was thinking about this too. It's episode 158. I think when Tommy died, it was about 100, the 100th episode. I put together a compilation of the podcast episodes, because Tommy really couldn't speak at that time. And I did a clip show because he really, he couldn't contribute anymore, and he wanted to. And I brought him a lot of joy, I think, at the end. And he was happy to know that this was going to continue. So I'm going to continue on, and hopefully I'm going to stop blabbing and give you some value. So, these objects around us, one of the things my dad told me is, he says, don't get too attached to things. Things come and go, and that's the way it is. And if you have the opportunity to sell something and make a lot of money, there's no harm in doing that. Take that money and use it for something else. These are just things that come in and out of our life. And if we slowly replace the parts, on our favorite old car or our favorite old boat with new parts, at what point does it become a new car? And if you keep replacing parts of yourself with new ones, which conjures up a kind of strange picture in my head, like a Borg. If you become a Borg, at what point do you become really a new person? We're not replacing parts. Talk about I'm not talking about taking off an arm or a leg. We're talking about our personal identity and how our memories and who we are, as a person, and the life that we live and the experiences that we have that have shaped us into that person that we are. We can't unlearn things. We can't unsee things. But we can replace them with new things. We don't unlearn habits. We replace them with other habits. This really fits well into an approach to life, embracing change and recognizing that everything is temporary, and whether it be from possessions or relationships, or emotions and circumstances, situations, everything is just constantly in flux. Our material possessions, the food that we bought at the grocery store, it has a timestamp on it. It's that fruit that you bought. It's only going to look good maybe until you get it home, and you'll be like, "Oh crap, man, just wasted my money." Especially with avocados, I find avocados are like that. It's hard to, you pick an avocado, it's not quite ready, and by the time it is, your life has passed it by, and that avocado is bad by the time you get to it. So I actually did learn something a product that I've used recently. I forget what the product brand is, but you can look it up. I'm not getting anything from this. This is just my own personal experience. It's a squeezable guacamole or squeezable avocado. It's there's no preservatives in it. It's just fresh avocado, lemon juice or lime juice, and salt, sea salt. That's it. And they put it in a airtight vacuum sealed tube, so it stays fresh, and it stays fresh for up to 7 days afterwards. So every time that you use it, since there's no air in there, it doesn't oxidize, and it's like having fresh avocado with each meal. And it's a superfood. You could live off of avocado. It's been very, very helpful for me, especially as I get older and I find out how important nutrition is. The things that we eat and we put into our body are very important, and they have a direct link into how we feel and our perception, and definitely our health shapes our life. So let's see. So cultural and historical artifacts. When we renovate a historic building, we preserve its original design, but we replace its materials. It makes you wonder if it's really the same historic building. I think that I live in Virginia, and I'm not that far away from Williamsburg and from Yorktown, and the birthplace of our country really. And there are these ships that they keep there, wooden ships, and like I think that wasn't the Mayflower, wasn't there? But anyhow, like John Smith's ships. Obviously, I'm not that much of a history person. So these ships are there. They're not from the 1700s. They're modern day materials, but they're built in the same style. They were built exactly the same way, same measurements and everything. It's not the same boat, but it gives you a great taste. And they say, they call it by the same name. So it's not really the same, but it's the best that we can do given the circumstances that life and everything in it is temporary. So let's ponder these things together. And, does the ship remain the same? And what about your thoughts on your own identity? Are you the same person that you were before all of these experiences that you've had? Or are you different now? I'll give you the answer right now. You are not different. You may view the world differently, but you are the same person. Actually, your cells, I think, have probably even changed out in between all these times. If you really think about it, our cells are constantly replacing. They have their own life cycle, and they're constantly changing, and growing and changing and multiplying, and everything is in flux. So to some, this could be very overwhelming and think like, holy shit, everything is coming together and everything is falling apart and coming at me. When Tommy was dying, it felt that way. And it's felt like that at other times in my life where it felt like just the sky was falling. It felt like my whole world had got turned upside down. And I will say that this concept that life is temporary has certainly helped me in that, because I started to reshape my perception and my approach to the problems that I was facing at the time. And it made me realize that it was an opportunity to reshape my life and make it into something better. And I do this time and time and time again. I'm the same person. But my life is different, in many, many different ways. But I am the same person, the same character, same wicked sense of humor, same dad jokes, and the same love for life and making the most out of the terms that I live with. So I've given you a lot to think about. But let's, before I close out, I actually do have a little bit more to offer. So what's the impact of all this? Everything's temporary. Well, think of it in this way. You have a freedom from attachment. When we view everything as temporary, we loosen our grip on things, or the need for things to be a certain way, because we give up some control because we recognize that we have to. We recognize that these things are temporary. I'll use Tommy's death as a great example of this, or my own job, even. When you recognize that everything is temporary, whether it be a good friendship whether it be your job, your health. You can loosen your grip and say, I don't need it to be this certain way. I had no control over Tommy's diagnosis. I hated to see him go, but I had no control over that. Now, if I kept on thinking all these negative emotions and just dwelling and on the sadness of it all and what that meant to my own life, because we cry not for the person that we lose, we cry for ourselves and what that means to our own life. If we let that drive us, it can really, and we just cling to the past, it can really hurt us in the present. It's important to keep it in this place. Honor and cherish those memories that you had and the opportunities to share time together. Those are priceless, and they have meaning. Don't let that go, but don't let it control your life. And you can't live in it. You can't live in the past. You live in the present. So accept the change. Both positive and negative. Both positive and negative comes with change. I find it very valuable to try to find the silver lining in everything. There's a silver lining. As much as something sucks, there's something good about it too. So loosen the way you see things, and you'll find that you're more resilient, and you can adapt better to new situations. And you'll find that the more that you do this, the easier it becomes. Almost like a chameleon, where you can kind of change. A chameleon doesn't stop being a chameleon because they change colors. They're still themselves at the core, but they're fitting into the circumstance, adapting to the new circumstance, the new situation. So focus on the present, and recognize, and savor that moment. They say it's the little things, right? Just taking a deep breath sometimes, breathing in the air, walking outside and just taking in all that the world has to offer. I mean, just the breeze coming through the trees in the morning, or how the sun is going through the trees in the morning as the sun rises. And it's so cool and awesome. And, you can appreciate that fleeting beauty on a daily basis. It's all there for you. You can choose to live an unhappy life, or you can choose to live a happy life. Every moment that you spend unhappy, you could have spent it happy. I think there is some choice in this. Out of respect for those who pass, we mourn, and we all have a different timeline on that. There's no right or wrong. It's individual, and the person who died doesn't care. They have no cares anymore. They're out of pain. They're in hopefully a better place. But their life and their story is over, and as much as we hate that, you can't do a damn thing to change it. So why spend the energy thinking about it? At a daily decision-making level, this helps you prioritize your experiences. Temporary possessions, yeah, they can bring fleeting joy. It's a temporary happiness. Think of all the things that you were so excited about buying and getting, and you're like, oh, this is going to be life-changing, and they let you down. It really wasn't all that you thought it was going to be. Get over it, man. Move over. Keep moving. There are a lot of things. Enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not going to last forever. But these memories that we have and the experiences that we have, they create lasting memories. I just went to see the Outlaw Music Festival with Willie Nelson and friends. A lot of Americana type of music, really kind of roots rock and roll, which I like. I went with one of my best friends, and I'll always remember that. And this is we create new memories together, man. It's been we've been friends since 1985. My first friend in college. Practice gratitude. Appreciate the good things in life. Knowing, it's sometimes hard to express gratitude when things in your life suck. But there are things to be thankful for. And also, sometimes we start dwelling on how much things suck, but think about how it could really be. It could be even worse. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Why waste all that much time thinking all about it when you could think about what you have in the present and appreciate exactly what you have right here and right now before it goes away. So when you're thankful, it does foster a sense of contentment, and it reduces the need, for external validation. People saying, "Oh, that's great for you," and blah. I don't know. Support from others, like you need. I find I remember back when I was dating, before I met my wife, before I met the right one, I would always ask my friends or my family, well, what do you think of her? Doesn't really matter what people thought of her. It mattered what I thought of her. And when I met my wife, I found that I wasn't asking people what they thought of her, because I really didn't care what they thought of her. I loved her, and I knew that. And I made her my wife, and we have a wonderful family. And it's not perfect, but it's deep, and it's wonderful. And I love my family and my wife. It's funny because I'm writing these notes and I'm talking, and then everything is just falling in line perfect. Because this is really the way I view my life and how I live my life. Embrace the imperfect moments. Don't chase perfection. Embrace the temporary nature of setbacks and challenges. Learn from them and move forward. We all make mistakes. That's part of the learning process. We keep on learning how not to do things before we really learn how to do them. And sometimes it takes us a while, and everyone's on their own schedule, and you have to recognize that. And again, external validation or, I think I found, especially going back to the boat, a lot of these things that I had to do, I've never done before. I had never installed a gas tank in a boat. I'd never installed, the filler line, and I don't know how to do. I mean, I had a basic idea of how to do things, but I had to figure out exactly how I wanted to do it based on what I had. And I went through different gas tanks, and I did this and I did that, and I went back and forth, until I just thought, I got to go. I got to get this done. If I mess up, I'll redo it. And I just keep, so I made it through that, and I was like, okay, now I got what do I need to do next? And I kind of prioritized what I needed to do. And then I learned how to do it. And you could do anything if you break it down into smaller buckets. We tend to get overwhelmed with everything coming at us, but it all breaks down into very simple things and into steps and into groups. The more you can organize your thoughts and perceptions like that, I think the easier it is to live a life on your terms. So, as you move on with your life and you have these different experiences, both good and bad, you're not going to do everything right. Remember to forgive yourself as well as others. Holding on to grudges or dwelling on past mistakes, it is a burden, and it costs you in the energy that you spend thinking about it, when you could spend that energy on better things that are more positive and lead to more positive outcomes, rather than spending energy on things that really don't matter anymore because you can't change it. It is what it is. Last summer, I had our air conditioner went out. We have 2 air conditioners in our house because we have a 2-story house. So, I think it's more efficient that way. But it's costly to have 2 different units. And when you have to replace a unit, that's just 1 unit and you have 2 of them. So last summer we replaced 1 unit, and they're thousands of dollars. It's not cheap. Got that done. It was horrendous because of the guy I was dealing with, but that's another story for another day. It is what it is. But this summer, our other air conditioner went out. So, the last time when we had to replace the air conditioner, man, my life was in a terrible, my finances were really in bad shape at that time. I was in great shape. I had money in the bank. I had a good positive cash flow. But when my first daughter started going to college, that's when it really started to slip. And I'm starting, she's graduated now, and I'm going to start paying back for her student loans. I'm almost $100,000 in debt just for her school. That's really the only reason I have debt. But I take that on and I accept that, and I'm going to work through it. But it does create situations to where I don't have a lot of padding. I don't have a lot of safety net. And when big things like my air conditioner go out, it can be really just overwhelming. I'm sure many of you can understand this. I should have planned better. I knew that these units were going to go. I knew my kids were going to go to college. I should have planned better, right? I could kick myself daily about any number of things. But I choose to forgive myself and move on. And I'm my own worst critic. You might be your own worst critic. Stop being such a critic. What does that really do? Focus on solutions and how to move yourself forward, and getting the things that you want, I think, is a better approach. You get bogged down in negativity, and oftentimes I think we're not aware of the negativity. So if people are pointing it out to you, maybe you should listen to them. And that includes myself. And just realize that their heart's in a good place, hopefully. And stuff like that is tough to bring up, but good friends and people that have meaning in your life do it. Forgiveness allows you to let go of the negativity and move on with a lighter heart. And we all have bad times. And you will get through it. These are temporary. Again, this is about embracing change and recognizing that everything in life is temporary. So take calculated risks. I'm not saying be risky and do things that are going to endanger your life. Don't be a fool. I mean, come on. That would be a real kick in the ass. Don't be a fool. Be responsible for your life. Take accountability, and be held accountable and be held responsible for your own actions and for your own life. But don't let the fear of failure paralyze you and keep you in this place. The only way to move forward is to embrace whatever needs to be done and get through it. Learn what you have to learn. Take action. Keep learning. Keep moving forward. Temporary setbacks, they're inevitable. You're going to go by your own, and what I think that means is it means you're going to have to go by your own schedule. Just because someone else did something in a certain timeline, doesn't mean that you're going to always be able to do that. You might do it quicker. It might take you 3 times as long. But does that really matter? Because you all have your own life to live. What's right for you, you have to decide that. But oftentimes I think we hold ourselves back. And I have learned that about, especially in dealing with a 60-year-old boat. I was afraid to make mistakes. The boat meant a lot to me, and I didn't want to mess it up. But I got over it. And man, it's coming together great. And my confidence, my skill level, the opportunities that I'm going to create to have memories, long-lasting memories and experiences with my family and my friends out on this boat, that I believe I'm going to name Theseus, based on the Greek mythology, which was really what I was going to call the episode. But I think I've covered a lot this episode. I hope you got a lot out of it. I know I've been trying to get this organized to give you something of value as you take over the terms of your life, and live a life on your terms. So I'm going to end it here. Until next time, this is your host, John Curran. This is a Swift Kick in the Ass podcast. Please visit my website. There are a number of different ebooks and materials there that I've made available. I put a pretty good price on them. I haven't heard anything really about it. I would love to hear what you think about it. Please reach out to me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com with questions, comments. Check out the website. Again, I'm going to make it go back and get the coupon code. No, I'm not going to do that. ASKITA 10 or ASKITA 20. That's going to give you a discount. And hopefully you get a lot out of it. I wouldn't put it up there if I didn't think you would. So until the next time, this is John Curran. Peace. This marks the end of another episode of A Swift Kick in the Ass, placing it directly in the can. As much as I like to talk, even I have my limits. It's time to go. Catch me on the next show. For better or worse, whether you like us or not, please leave comments wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter. Visit our home on the interweb. I think you can leave me a voicemail there. You can also email me at john@aswiftkickintheass.com. It's been my extreme pleasure. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope you got your ass moving. Until then, until the next time, I'm out of here. Peace.